Before I do anything else, I want to take a second, if you would allow me, Kyle, and we talked about this. Could you just give us a couple of weeks ago, A.J. Lighton Jr., former Bowie State football player, tragically lost his life along with two other gentlemen. Could you just kind of give us a few thoughts on him and what kind of young man he was and what that does to Bowie State?
A.J. Linton was a football guy. He loved the game, and he gave his all to the game. Like I said, to know A.J. is to love A.J. He's had one of those character-wise that, you know, if you didn't know him, you probably wouldn't understand him. But once you got to know him, you understood a little bit more about him, man. So he would truly be missed. Like I say, Bowie State University supported him and those two other young men who lost their lives. You know, we're standing behind them and their families in this trying time. It deeply affected our team, one, because a lot of people had good relationships with A.J. You know, so, you know, you never expect to get that call, you know, especially as a head coach, man. That's one of those calls that you don't want to get. And then as a teammate as well, you know, a guy that you go to war with, you never want to see him go like that, you know. So the guys were affected by it. However, you know, we're truly standing behind them and supporting them. The university has been doing a great job in supporting them and making sure that the guys are getting what they need to feel supported and, you know, and work through this trying time. So A.J. was a great kid. He would truly be missed. No one on the defensive side will wear the jersey number 4, you know, in honor of A.J. for this season. So definitely want to make sure that we send the condolences to the Linton family, the Jackson family, and the Hazel family, because those were 3 young men who lost their lives a little too early.
Bulldogs of Bowie State, making certain that I knew to tell you once again and to motivate you one more time, preseason pick number 5. Got it?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Got
sir.
it. Kyle Jackson.
I think everybody heard you.
Kyle, this is now year 3, and this is kind of the, you know, we've said to a couple other coaches, this is when everything kind of goes. And you had such a great standard for you, all those championships that you were a part of as a player and as a coach. But now this is your program. This is on you. So where is Bowie State ready to go? You know, preseason pick number 5. I had to kind of do a double take when they gave it to me, and I'm trying to put it in order because that's not where we see Bowie State traditionally. So,
man, yeah, like you said, year 3, year 2. The first 2 years were a challenge. Just understanding the changes that we went through, it affected us in many different ways. However, man, we were still able to win 6 games throughout all of the things that we were going through. So, you know, six wins is not the standard or what our expectations is at Bowie State University. However, you got to see some bright side to it. So this offseason, man, we spend a lot of time challenging the guys how to get back our winning culture. You know, like Hassan said, it's the small things. It's doing the small things right, and making sure that we're spending time on those small things so that way that we can be effective and get back to those winning ways. Like I say, 6 games is not bad when you talk about some of the circumstances. However, that is not the standard of what Bowie State University football is. So it is a chip on our shoulder. One, because we look in the mirror every day and we know what we want to be and we know who we are. It's just about doing those things right to get back to that. So I'm excited for this 2024 season just because we have took steps in the right way to get back to where we want to be. Now it's about executing.
CIAA Media Day was today. And as you know, as far as Media Days go, the first team all-conference team is revealed. Also, the predicted order of finish comes out. Now, I put out my own version of the list last week. And as you can see, it's a little bit different from the list that the conference has put out. The conference has slated Bowie State to finish 5th in the CIAA this year. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. When I first saw this list, my brother was a little bit upset. Like, what? How on earth are they putting Bowie State University at 5th? They are predicting us to finish 5th in the conference. They tripping. They crazy. Who's responsible for this list? But I sat down for a second. I let it marinate. And if I'm going to be 100% honest, I understand why they put us at 5th. On top of that, I agree with them putting us at 5th. Now, you saw my list, so obviously you know that I believe we have the capabilities of being the best team and winning the whole thing this year and going to Salem. And I still do believe that. But when we talk about a preseason list, there has to be a standard and a criteria for how teams are listed. And so, if you're using a standard and a criteria, we would have to be about 5th. Because if we're being honest, for the past few years, that's where we finished. We finished about 5th place. Just looking at the results on the field and the overall statistics, you can't necessarily make a case in the preseason that we should be 1st or 2nd or 3rd. Obviously, when it's all said and done, I think we're going to be right there at the top. But if we're being honest, we're looking at the results. You can't make a case right now in the preseason for us to be 1st or 2nd. I laid out the case of what I think we will do this year, but what I think the team is going to do and what the team has actually done are two different things. And honestly, I think that the team should take this as a great motivator, a good chip on the shoulder. They think the big bad Bulldogs are going to finish 5th. They should be excited, and that should fuel them to make some things happen. Because once again, we can't argue with where the team was placed. There's a lot that has to be proven. Obviously, I think it will be proven, but you have to prove it first. There's several things that have to be proven. Number one, the team has to prove that they can consistently and effectively run the football. The days of Rodney Rebb and Isaac Redman, those days are long gone. We have to prove that they can consistently run the ball. That's the first thing. Second thing, the team has to prove that they have solved the turnover problem from last year. I'm talking about the fumbles, the interceptions, a lot of them. Team has to prove that they've fixed that problem. They have to prove that they will have consistent quarterback play throughout the entire season. The offensive coordinator has some things to prove. He has to prove that he can consistently call effective offense throughout the season. Because there was a stretch, particularly in the middle of the season, where it was like handoff for 1 yard, handoff for 1 yard, try to do a little quick pass, didn't work, punt. And that went on for some time. The team has to prove that they can run the ball effectively, consistently. They have to prove that they can protect the football. The offensive coordinator has to prove that he can call effective game plans. The team has to prove that they will have consistent, reliable quarterback play. Also, the team has to prove that they can stop the run. In my video where I talked about my predicted order of finish, one issue was Jada Byers had ran for 500 yards in 2 games against us. If you're going to win the conference, you got to prove you can slow him down. Not just him, but you're going to have to prove you can slow down the rushing attack at Virginia State. Because I can tell you right now, as much confidence and faith as I have in the team, if they have another year where they can't run the ball and another year where they can't stop the run, 5th place is going to be... we're going to be hoping for 5th place. With the schedule that we have, if we can't stop the ball, can't run it, 5th place, man. Because once again, I think I always get the schools mixed up. It's not Newberry, it's Lenoir-Rhyne. After that, it's Davenport. Also, we got Fayetteville State this year, Union this year, State this year. If you can't stop the run and you can't run the ball, so it has to be proven. And there's really no need to get worked up about the list because all the teams ahead of us besides Johnson C. Smith, we have to play. Like we're playing Union, we're playing State, playing Fayetteville State. So ultimately it's going to be settled on the field. But once again, if the turnover problem is not solved, if stopping the run is not fixed, if running the ball is not fixed, if the offensive play calling is not fixed, if the quarterback play is not consistent, obviously I believe that the team will figure out these issues. But belief versus proof are two different things. Come late August, it's going to be time to prove these things. Like we're going to see Winston-Salem on the field, Livingstone on the field, Elizabeth City on the field, Virginia State, Virginia Union on the field. It's either it's going to happen or it's not, It's really that simple. Can you run the ball? Can you stop the run? Can you limit the turnovers? Does the new offensive line coach make a difference? Is the OC calling effective game plans? And the wonderful thing about it, it's going to be put to the test right off the rip with 2 very strong out-of-conference games. Then you go right into a revenge game against Livingstone. Then you go right on the road to Winston-Salem. So the first 4 games, we're going to know what's going to go down. Because, just being honest, if you come out of that 1-3, you're not going to Salem. If you come out of the first 4 weeks 1-3, not happening. 2-2 is a stretch, honestly, because you still have State and Union to play. Like, we got to be honest about this thing. In order to get to Salem, you got to win 7 games, at least. Might have to win 8 this year. We'll see, because a lot of teams have tough schedules. But you got to win 7. So you cannot come out of the first 4 games 1-3. You really don't want to come out of it 2-2. You really want to beat either Lenoir-Rhyne or Davenport or both. You have to beat Livingstone after what happened last year. Winston-Salem State, you should win that game, but it is on the road, but you need that game. It's a conference game. The goal should be, obviously you want to go 4-0, but the goal should be coming into week 5, 3-1. If you want to go to Salem, that's what has to happen. But once again, running the ball, stopping the run, limiting turnovers, effective game plan, consistent quarterback play. That has to happen. If those 5 things don't happen, you You can't win 7. You can win, like we've proven, you can be an okay team, a slightly above average team, and win 6 games without those things. But once you start talking about 7 wins, 8 wins going to Salem, those things got to be addressed. And we're going to find out real early. Week 1s are always tricky because it's the first game of the season. And, you know, I typically don't judge the whole season off of the first game in terms of the result, the win or the loss. I tend to look at different areas of the team and how different factions perform. So, week 1, obviously I want the team to win. But for the most part, I'm looking for, can they run the ball? Can they stop the run? Do we have turnovers? How does the offense look? Do they look in rhythm? Does the play calls make sense? Is it predictable? Do they know when to speed it up? Do they know when to, like, that's what I'm going to be looking for. That's it. So just based off of last year, it makes sense why they put us at 5th. Because we lost to State and Union big. We did. We also lost to Livingstone, inexplicably. Lost to Davenport, but we could have won that game. Realistically, you can't predict us to finish ahead of Union until we actually beat Union, and it's been a few years. You can't predict us to beat State after what happened to us on our own field at homecoming last year. You can't predict us to finish ahead of Fayetteville State, who's dominated the South the last decade. You just got to go and prove it.